It's a rainy day right now, but I'm about to walk into my local theater to see Argylle, the new spy film from Matthew Vaugn. I've watched all of Matthew Vaughn's films in preparation for this one, and his previous spy franchise, the Kingsman franchise. I enjoy all three of those movies, and so really excited to check this one out. So I'll let you know what I think of it when I get out.
Hi, my name is Nathan, and I talk about a bunch of movies on this channel. If you're new here, down below in the comment section, share what you thought of the movie Argylle. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button and be sure to subscribe because that would really help a lot. Over on my channel, I have more content like this. Check those out once this video is over because I have more videos, more reviews just like this one. And with that said, let's just get straight into this review talking about the good. And to me, the absolute best thing about this movie is that it's a very Matthew Vaugn film that feels like a Matthew Vaugn film and that just goes for it all throughout the entire runtime of this thing. So, when it comes to Matthew Vaugn, there's a certain way in which he likes to shoot his action sequences, and there's a bunch of action sequences in this movie that have Matthew Vaughn's vibrant cameras always moving. And as somebody that's seen all of Matthew Vaughn's movies in preparation for this movie, of course, it's a lot of fun to see his vibrant action sequences with moving camera angles. I wouldn't say these are his best action sequences of all of his movies, but I think that it is very stylized, just like all of his other movies, and does feel like a Matthew Vaugn film. And the other thing to talk about here is that it just goes for it. Like, it's lacking any subtlety or anything like that. It's not trying to, like, be like, under the radar. It's just trying to go full out, all there, like, right in front of you, where movie stars are charismatic, big, gigantic, stylized action sequences, and so it just goes all out with all that stuff. It does some creative things with the settings in some of the action sequences, and so that's just fun to see in this film. I mean, this is the first Matthew Vaugn film that I saw in the theater, and I had a lot of fun with this film throughout it. Another thing you gotta talk about here is that it does have a very charming and fun cast. Now, if you look at the actual posters for the movie and the trailer, the title of the movie is called Argylle. The character Argylle is played by Henry Cavill. But keep that in mind, even though Henry Cavill's like in the front of the poster, like he's not the main character of the movie. He barely appears in the movie, maybe in like 5 minutes of screen time. That's how much he appears in this movie. And then same thing with like John Cena. He barely appears in this movie as well. And like Dua Lipa, the singer, she also barely appears. Keep that in mind when you go into this movie, is that the actual characters in this Argylle story that the main character is writing the book, they're not in the movie all that much. The movie very much focuses in on Bryce Dallas Howard as this fake author Ellie Conway and Sam Rockwell's character, and it very much focuses on the two. Those are the two that get the most screen time. Those are the two, especially Bryce Dallas Howard. She's kind of the one you're following throughout the entire film, and so just keep that in mind. But in that case, I really did think that Bryce Dallas Howard and Sam Rockwell were really fun in the lead roles, where they just have their movie star charisma, all that's just there, and they're just fun to spend time with throughout the entire film as they're learning new things about this world and everything like that. And it moves at quite a fast pace. It's kind of like an adventure, action, spy movie, and I enjoyed that aspect of it, where there's like a globe-trotting adventure. They're trying to think of, like, the main concept of the movie is that an author is swept into this spy adventure because her books are kind of what's going on in the spy espionage reality in this film, and it just moves at a fast pace. Like, you get a bunch of dialogue. They're traveling around the world, of course, like I said, and it just moves at the pace where it keeps you entertained all throughout it. And that's what its job was. It was to keep me entertained, and it absolutely did do that. And final one to talk about here, I appreciated that Matthew Vaugn is making a spy action movie for a broader audience. Like Kingsman, Kick-Ass. Those movies are rated R action movies from him. and they're not really made for the broadest audience. And this one's a PG-13 spy action movie, and so it's just made for a larger group of people. So, something that you could probably take your kids to if they like action movies. And so, overall, I did enjoy this movie, but that doesn't mean it's very perfect. And so, let's move on to the bad. And right out of the theater of watching this film, I found it enjoyable all throughout it, yet extremely, extremely flawed. There were a lot of problems to me that came with the actual story in this film. And so superficially, it is a lot of fun. It's very entertaining. It absolutely does just go for it. But on the other side, when you get into the second half of the film, it just absolutely waterboards you with information, with twists and turns. This movie has like 20 twists and turns that make you reinterpret a bunch of things. It has like 20 twists and turns in it. And yeah, like that's quite a bit of information. But it's not like it was a lot to process. It's just like every time a twist or turn comes in the story in the second half, it's like 50% of the chance that it is going to work and it is going to make sense. Like, some of them just don't really make sense. Some of them are clever, and I like those kinds of twists where they're clever and they outsmart me. I never would have expected that. But then other twists, pretty predictable, and other twists just kind of didn't work. It felt like it was stretching out a little bit, and so some of them felt forced to me, and that was a part of the issue, is that it absolutely just waterboards you with twists, and there's only like a 50-50 chance that the twists themselves in the movie are actually going to work. Other thing to talk about here, because of all these twists, there are just some really big lapses in logic all throughout the film. There's going to be a scene in this movie where one of the characters shoots another character in the chest, and the character shot in the chest survives. And it's not like I was expecting him to die or anything. I expected him to be alive, but then I'm just like, okay, like, how is this guy actually alive? And then it comes with this like lazy excuse by the end of it, and so when it reveals why this character's alive, and so there's just some really big lapses in logic where you're just like, wait a minute, something's not really right there. And so those are the major issues that just knock this movie really far down for me. They're not really like a whole bunch of issues. Those are just the really main ones. Oh, and another one to talk about here, I think this is the final one. Some of the CGI, some of the effects just don't look very right. Like, there's some shots, especially in the opening scene of the movie, the opening action sequence, where you could kind of tell the CGI is just not quite right. Like, and I'm not going into spoilers here. This is in the trailer. There's one shot in the trailer of like a cat, like, bouncing up. There are a bunch of shots like that with the cat in the movie, and so make of that as you will. Some of the CGI just wasn't good, but overall, I enjoyed this movie. I would overall give it a positive review. If you like Matthew Vaugn, if you like spy movies, if you like action movies, I would recommend you go check this one out. But if you didn't like the trailers, this one's probably not going to work for you. I can absolutely understand if you don't really enjoy this film. As somebody that likes action movies, it wasn't quite as good as I was hoping it would be, but it did enough to entertain me, and I would recommend this one. So I'm going to go a B on this one. But hey, that's just my opinion. Down below in the comment section, share your thoughts on Argylle over on my channel. I have more content like this. Check those out right now. Click the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end, and I will see you in the next one.